On the table today at Squirrel Stampede, we have Bandai Namco Godzilla 6-inch action figures. A little bit different than what we typically see with a larger lumbering hunk of piece of plastic. Now we're going smaller scale with a little more detail, a little more articulation maybe. Also a few other things from Bandai Namco, like these mini Godzilla collectible buildings with figurines inside, and then we've got classic looking pieces, and we've got some very strange looking eggs that transform. Might be the weirdest thing of the year for Godzilla. So follow on through as we squirrel out with Godzilla, maybe some other Zilla drops in this video. We will see lots of stuff to explore on the table today.
Squirrel Stampede!
Please like,
Share!
and squirrel like!
This is a Bandai Namco Godzilla 2004 6-inch action figure. So Godzilla actually gets an action figure versus usually kind of like a bigger, thicker Monsterverse figure. Most typically, the Godzillas that I have collected over the years are like this. Heavier, less articulated, a little bit larger, sometimes detailed, sometimes undetailed, but a variety has always been released in the last few years or more. But this time around, Bandai is going with more of an action figure look, especially with the box kind of reminiscent of their Anime Heroes line in the windowed box with figure inside, and on the back of the box we've got also today Godzilla 2004 and Mecha Godzilla 2002. I am thinking to preserve box quality, I will cut through the bottom there. Always would like to keep these boxes clean, as you could totally display again with them. Okay, what do we got for 2004? I'm very curious what these are going to appear to be like. There we go, a little bit of a Build Your Zilla, huh? I guess it's kind of a wider figure, so it's harder to fit into such a narrow box. There we go. Oh, this one always had just kind of such a mean snarl to it. And, well, half a body. We'll get that fixed up for you. Oh, everything just falls right out. So some slight assembly required with this one. Bandai plastic. Has its own unique feel, doesn't it? The hip bone connected to the leg bone. Not gonna lie, that was a little distressing to do. The arm bone connected to the shoulder bone. And the tail bone connected to the butt bone. And another tail bone connected to the back of the tail bone. Not gonna lie, that was a little distressing. I did not like doing that. The hardness of the plastic made me feel really uneasy. I was so worried about breaking a ball joint. And then forget placing him back in the package now. I guess you'd have to pop those joints back off, which I don't really like to do. I don't like to put added stress pressure on jointage these days. So my first thoughts of a Godzilla 6-inch action figure are pretty well, wow, look at this guy. He's got plenty of points of fun here. A little bit smaller than we typically would want to play in a Godzilla toy. It's always kind of nice to have him giant and lumbering, but I suppose you go micro scale with this one and then he's giant and lumbering. The details of 2024 showing through, kind of what's the best way to describe his wrinkled scales of that era? Kind of raisinette. It's not exactly precise wrinklage. It's kind of, you know, cartoonized a little bit there. I've seen some finer work, but I think it's going to work for this scale pretty well. Yeah, it's kind of fun seeing all these articulated points here. What do we really have? Head is on a neck post there for a ball joint and an opening and closing mouth. We've got shoulders that were on that ball joint, which I snapped in so tightly, and it can move and rotate, hinge around. Hinge points on the elbows, but I don't believe there's rotation there. There is rotation there on his wrists, though. Maybe a ball joint there. Nothing in the torso, but then we go down to the hips where we had connected one of them on a giant ball joint. And, well, I'm getting some pretty good motion, maybe more motion than you should in a Godzilla, right? Like, how often would he be in that pose? A nice kickoff pose. Pretty good, though. Lots of ball joint movement. Can't really kick out too far, but there's a lot of rotation. And then knees and ankles on ball points. And then over to his tail, of course, this was on a ball point, and so was this one. So how many points was that? 16? Did I count 16 points? About 16 points. That's pretty good. Is that enough to say doing a quick little stop motion with him? Okay, that was really poorly done. I gotta work on my stop-mo skills. They're really rusty. So yeah, you could probably do a little bit of motion control with him pretty okay. It's not like a highly detailed and complex figure. It's a $20 figure, so you're getting what you get for $20, which is a pretty fun deal. We also have his atomic blast, and it's attached to his lower jaw. That's odd. That's certainly one way of doing it. So let's see, can we remove his jaw? Again, this kind of stresses me out. Like, I can't even grip it. It's so hard to grip. Like, where do I grab on to pull this? I just don't know if this is possible to even grab it. It's so tight. So I guess I'm just gonna wait on that for a moment. I'm worried about I just can't grab onto it. This side would be easy to pull. You've got the whole atomic breath piece, so we'll come back to that. And one more height check here. He should be 6 inches tall, and he is. And you're looking at about 3 inches wide there. And with that tail, we're going about 8 inches that direction, and about 9 to 10 going down his back. So it's a pretty well done action figure, I think, for the price point. It is certainly an improvement over some of these blockier, heavier plastic figurines, although these blockier, heavier plastic figurines can usually go up a scale size or several scale sizes. Shall we try out one of these little mini houses? I gotta see what's inside. So this is a fun mini Godzilla collection I found over at Target from Bandai Namco as well. I think you can find a whole box set at Big Toy Store, Big Bad Toy Store, or dealers like that if you wish to find the whole full collection. I believe there are several here. I think I even have a shelf box. Yeah, they had about a half a full shelf box there. I grabbed what was available. They're a pretty good deal, only like $4.99, $3.99 a box, which felt like a better deal than normal. You could see a couple variations of Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla, King Ghidorah, and Mothra maybe in there. And my favorite part of these is the building shaped packages. You could build yourself a little micro city, and it would actually work well for both microform and I think the 6-inch figure back there as he would lumber around them. So I like the deal with the packaging. That's my favorite part. Well, who could we find first? In the black building skyscraper, it's a Mothra! And much larger than I anticipated. About twice as big as I thought it would be. There she is. That's actually one of the coolest Mothra figures I have, and I only have like a couple Mothra figures, so wow, that's a really nice painted figurine of Mothra. So these figures scale at about 2 inches or so, about a 2-inch block of figure, which fits pretty much all of the building. I anticipated this to be half the size it is, so I'm pretty excited for pulling this one. Not exactly painted all around, but some very nice markings in the plastic there. A little spiral there, some squigglies. She's looking quite Mothra. And then you can either store her inside her building or place her on top as a display. Alright, let's go to the next action figure. Here's one I think everyone wants to see. Godzilla 2023, Godzilla Minus One. It's taken quite a bit of time. Obviously, these aren't exactly ready right at movie time. I wish they had placed something behind these figures that would bring out their contrast in box. You can barely see them. They're not very good figures for box display, so they're definitely something you want to take out. Had they given us a white background, Godzilla would have popped better, but it's so dark in there. Maybe an open window on the top of the box, that's not there, and so he's really, really hard to see in there. Godzilla 2023 is in there, and there on the back of the box. See, they got this right. They have Godzilla 2023 prominently displayed, and then the other 2 figures available. That was weird last time, how they had his own self. Well, let's get 2023 Minus One out of pack. Methinks we're going to be building more Godzilla. Very much so. Very much so. And everything just falls out of pack. Lots of Godzilla building to do today. A little bit of a model kit, just a slight bit. I'm interested what everyone is going to talk about in the sculpting and detail with these. In photos, like what I've seen online, and then in package, they looked a little lacking, but now out of pack, I'm feeling like they're pretty good. They're feeling really nice in hand, a good heavy weight to them. This one's ball joint snapping together much better than 2004 was, I can tell you that. I spoke too soon. Ouch! Nothing more painful than a ball joint that is oversized to the connection point. Ow! Okay, let's try this one. I think this will be easier. Okay, Minus One. Zilla ready to go. So you gotta look at this one up a little closer to see the color. At first glance, it feels like just one sage of green, but if you look on in closer, there's a little bit of muddy detail, some tan detailing. Some golden tan detailing up on that torso, arms, and legs, but I don't think it follows through to the back side, which is unfortunate. And the Zilla spines back there are pretty well uninteresting. They really could have added some detail, maybe the same detail here, but with the silver back here would have certainly helped. So it's very plain. It's a very plain back section. It's impressive in its detail, in its sculpted detail. We've got 3 layers of spinage going down, which I like quite a bit, and they're quite -1-ly pronounced, popping back out. I like that too. Just could use a little more painted touch on this one. But again, these are $20 figures, or maybe $25, depending on the availability. I've seen these now at Target, so if you look around, you can get them for about $20, $25, which again, feels like a pretty good deal for the action figure of this. Now, what do you think of the head on this guy? What do you think of the head? That's an interesting look. It's got kind of a smaller head with a larger lumbering body, opening and closing mouth, a little bit of detailing on the eyes and teeth. Somehow we're going to have to remove that jaw again to get this piece in. I just don't know how. I honestly don't know how yet. I mean, my finger strength is only so powerful. You'll have to get like a needle nose pliers or something to pop this out. Or maybe like wedge backwards, lever backwards, and then pop and break, snap. I don't want to do that. So we do have this option, but it's just really clumsy. And I'm guessing we have those same 16 points of articulation. Head again is up on a ball joint at the lower neck, so it gives you a lot of mobility there for moving his head around, closing mouth jaw there, shoulders at a ball joint, elbows at a hinge, wrists at a ball joint, nothing for torso, hips at a ball joint, and whoops, I overextended with this one. I don't know if he has as much mobility as 2004. It's very little there. Knees that are very little, and a little bit of a ball joint on that toe. Back to here, 1 point at the tail, another point at the tail, and a 3rd point at the tail there. Did I catch 3 points on the other one? Looks like he has that 3rd point back there. So we're looking at 17 points of articulation, and I think that equals that. I think I missed a tail port at that last one. So 17 points, it's pretty good for a figure of action in Godzillaverse. It's different. Certainly different. Can I get your arm to bend? But it's a little more than what we traditionally see with some of the bigger ones. Now, I should add, we do have a much larger Godzilla Minus One figure in-house. It is the enormous Super 7 Godzilla Minus One. See if we can peer into package today. I don't want to open yet. I may just do its own video. I've had mixed results with the Super 7 last time when we opened up. I really liked, was it the 84 Godzilla? But then not so much the Mecha Godzilla. Their detailing is uncanny, but sometimes they become very thick. I have a feeling this is going to be very similar to the previous Godzilla 84, and I think it's going to be a really cool figure. But this one is out there. It runs a little high at about, I think, 89 or 79. So I'd like to get to him in his own show, maybe. We'll see what I do. It's just out there to look for. Let's do another building. These are really, really quite impressive. It's a yellow building. My contrast is all off today because I'm trying to show some of these Godzillas in their windows, and they're so dark inside their packaging. So I'm raising and lowering contrast to get on in. That was dangerous. I guess I should just tear these. Who's our next character? Oh, I think it's a special edition. It's a special edition burning mecha? I think it's glowing mecha. A Mecha Godzilla on fire. Or just in a orange-red plastic. Kind of even hard to tell it's Mecha Godzilla, but it is. You can kind of see the roboticness of it, the hingingness of it. I'd sure like to get this one also in painted form. If we look on the guide on the side, you can see it's in the special category. You can see this is the Mystery Mecha Special underneath regular painted. I certainly just would prefer the painted ones over a color change variant piece, but that's okay. It's always surprising. And so we'll display this one maybe next to its yellow building. And we've got one more figure, one more Bandai Namco action figure to show today, and that is another Mecha Godzilla. Because of its metallic silver color, much easier to see in package. See, they should have totally contrasted the backs a little bit better. You can see this one pop from a mile so much better than what we saw with the first two Godzillas. This is Mecha Godzilla 2002. I'm trying to remember when was the last time I saw this. It must be since 2002, maybe. Is this the one with the girl on the jetpack who flies around and has actually some really pretty good special effects for the time? If that's the one I'm thinking of, let me know. Until then, I'm gonna have to Amazon this one up and watch it again soon. But this is more of the era of a more modern looking Mechagodzilla, not as clunky as earlier versions. I think it's going to make a really nice action figure. It's a good one to start with before they go back to more classic. Really hoping this series takes off because I like the scale so far. It is fun. And honestly, the price point, like you see the Super 7 stuff, they'll give you half the size, a 3 3/4 figure for like $20, almost the same price. These guys are running about the same and do so much more. Okay, some more assembly required. It's kind of the fun part now, assembling these guys. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little sketchy with the ball jointing, but some of the parts go in real easy, others do not, like this one. Going to have to go to the Godzilla gym. I so dislike it when they're that tight, but we've gone through that before. Okay, another leg here. That was a nice fit. An arm. That was a good fit too. And its head. Ow! Oh my gosh, that hurts. I seriously had to place this guy together with paper towels. It hurt so bad. Oh my gosh. What's with the Mechagodzilla and all these serrated, jagged pieces of metal plastic, but that head joint, that neck joint was so tight. You can see like the markings on my fingers. Ow! That hurts so bad. Be warned on these. Some joints are much harder than they appear. Well, was it worth it though? I think it was worth it. This figure is really quite nice. I've got another one of these jaw pieces though. I just don't know if I can get that jaw out. And it's such a cool looking effect too. I'm gonna have to figure out and think about a way to get those off easy. But let's just focus on this figure. Wow. Just wow. I really like this one quite a bit. It's such a cool looking era of Mechagodzilla. I feel like this one out of the three I can get the most emotion out of him, even though he's a robot, which is pretty funny. Or a mecha, I should say, not a robot. I feel like I'm getting a little more personality out of this one. Maybe it's the way his hands tuck in right now. I've got them kind of like hugging in. The head smiled there, opening and closing jaw, not too much. I'm just getting some fun personality with them. And the back spines again. Those will be indented into my fingers and my hands for the next few weeks. I'll look down and go, oh yeah, that's the shape of his spine as it's been pressurized, crushed into my finger. Pretty cool mechanical tail too, good length. Sometimes they stumpify up a Mechagodzilla tail. Obviously this movie's verse had a longer tail and they represented that well. Only 1 point there of rotation. Godzilla's before here had 3, this one just has 1. So I'm thinking this is a 16-point figure instead, with the neck at a point there, the jaw, shoulders that reach out, rotate, elbows that just hinge, rotation ball probably on those hands. Nothing in the center there, but back to the hips. A little bit so-so movement in the hips. Better than 2023, but not as good as 2004. Then we've got hinged knees and ankles. Back to that tail at a couple points. So I would say 16, does that sound right? Yeah, that sounds right, 16 points. And I think he's my favorite today. I think he's my favorite. But all of these really have been just stunning and fun. 2004 is a good start at a more classic look, and 2023 with a more modern scope. And certainly we hope they can add more to this series. I would love to see a 1954, I'd love to see an 84, or is it an 85? I'd love to see a Shinzilla, and I'd love to see some more monsters to fight them with. So I'm liking this scale, I'm liking the price. I think they've done really well. Shall we try a blue building now? Shall we try a blue building? These buildings do have different shapes. Do I go with the same shape we've opened before, or do I go with a different one? I'm gonna go with the same shape. Let's see if that helps variate what's inside. Okay, who do we got? Who do we got? Oh, it's a Ghidorah in purple. Weird. Oh, so weird. Look at that. King Ghidorah in purple. That is what you get. A translucent King Ghidorah. Again, I'd like to see more painted. It's kind of funny though to see these two in their glowy plastic look. And so now we have this really weird thing. It's a Godzilla Bandai Namco egg. Transforming egg. These are just bizarre. I love the fact that we're seeing a lot more Godzilla stuff now that he's really mainstream popular this last couple years. That's pretty exciting. And then you start seeing fun stuff like this. I like these packs. Anything I could repackage is my favorite. This is so weird. Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Oh, look, we've explored an egg. Let's bring it back to the laboratory. Oh, wait a second. It's got an arm. Oh no, it's forming a leg now. Yes, we must observe this some more. Oh, it's destroying the laboratory. Another leg. And then a tail. What? Oh no, it's Godzilla. He's destroying our lab. Why did we bring this egg back to the laboratory? Oh, look, the tail goes even farther now. And I should just stop there with my silly voice. That was a little better than anticipated. He's actually shaped pretty well. Pretty well there. No opening and closing mouth. This looks like a 54, kind of like a 54, although very similar to a 2004 in color tone. And it transformed into an egg from back and forth. A little bit of good articulation, you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually, for what it is, it's kind of fun. Can I get him back to what he was? These legs and arms, what did they do again? Like that? And then the tail folds back in, like so. Do the head first before you get the tail back in. I don't know if I did the legs like they were. I think it was something like that. Oh no, the legs foot rotated. Okay, something like that. And that is just weird. That is one of the weirdest things I've checked out in a while. Ta-da! Wow, what a weird fellow. Got a couple more of these. Let's get one more out. It actually might be a really cool one to go versus with. It's a King Ghidorah. A King Ghidorah transforming egg. Oh boy, what will we do with this one? And, okay, this one's looking interesting. Ghidorah might be a little more Funora. Open up some wings first, and then maybe the tail? It's like a panel. Oh, it's a double tail panel. Okay, that's pretty basic. And, oh, he doesn't even have legs. Oh, he does. That was almost indetectable. The leg will flip over. Nice gold plastic. And for the big reveal, up we go with three heads on rotation points. Pretty good, pretty good. I mean, it's absolutely silly, but it works. And so now you can go head to egg or egg to head with Zilla versus Ghidorah. Pretty good scaled together. Just, Godzilla wants to give Ghidorah a hug. Oh, that's so kind and so kind of creepy. Well, there you go. These are the weirdest things I've seen this year. Definitely won the award for the Weird Toy of the Year category, but kind of fun still. Oh, I got his head knocked off, which is kind of cool for battle damage. The heads are just on posts, so you can knock them off. It's always fun to have a weird toy. And this is a take with you anywhere, fidget with you anywhere type of item. So there you go. Now you have the egg that the scientists find and should not try to grow in lab. Okay, well that's that. Couple more honorable mentions today. Did I try to show these last time and then just didn't get to them, or was going to get to them here and probably, well, we can get to them, but we don't really need to open them anyway. So if you're not sold on the Bandai Namco action figures and you want something more classic, here is another classic wave of solid plastic vinyl figures. Godzilla 1954, the Godzilla Monster Series they call this. A little bit smaller scale, usually they go large, but now these are about 5 inches in height. They have basic articulation at the shoulders and hips and maybe a tail point. 54 Godzilla there on his box, I'll leave him there for now. And there is a more classic Mecha Godzilla. So what we were kind of talking about earlier is I'm glad they went with a more modern 2000s and above Mecha Godzilla because it's a little more fun. However, I would love to see this one eventually made into action figure form. Definitely this one with simple articulation on the shoulders and probably hips there.
no!
Maybe not even a hip. There's that stumpy tail again. And one more. I'm not sure why I even picked this one up other than I just thought, oh, I'll just get all three. There was a translucent edition, 54 again, but with sparkles. I think we did look at these last time. I was like, come on, we'll check these out. And, well, there's nothing much to really check out with these because they're pretty much giant hunks of vinyl. The action figures are so much more fun to look at. Well, let's finish off with a couple more buildings. Let's do a couple more. Why not? I really want to see a Godzilla, right? So we've got some buildings here. Let's see who we can find to finish things up today. Kind of like a everything in Zillaverse. We've got a Godzilla advent calendar coming up too. So wait for that and we'll have some more fun. What's in the yellow building with the top port? This almost looks like a building in our downtown district. And, oh, we've got the glowing Godzilla green. I've been pulling all the mystery rares so far. That is so odd. All the mystery rares. So there is Zilla in green. I like this color quite a bit, actually. Broccoli Vivid Radioactive Green is that for Zilla. And then juxtaposed next to, say, purple and red. He looks pretty good. But not painted. We gotta find a painted Zilla. And there we go, there we go. Oh, and it's really quite cool looking. Probably in the same plastic shape. There we go. There's our Godzilla in painted form, or well, just kind of a dark green gray plastic. Is that another 2004 or a 1954? I'm getting them really confused. There we go. Don't know why I cut those. A painted Ghidorah, very nice. Or well, a gold plastic Ghidorah with a little bit of eye paint. And who's in our last box? Whoops, a repeat, another Godzilla. So honestly, did pretty good. The only thing I kind of wanted to see was a Mecha Godzilla in silver. Unfortunately, did not find. Well, there are two variations of Godzilla. This isn't the same one, is it? Oh, this green one actually might be in the sculpt of the gray one, as its tail is going this direction. So we do have different sculpts here of these two. Still difficult to say which year or series this one is. Maybe 2000s, this one maybe 54. It would be easier if we had the full regular verse color. And so there is the Bandai Namco series of action figure Godzilla for 2024 here with Minus One and 2004 and 2002 Mechagodzilla. I would say all three turned out very well done, and I hope to see this series continue. As for Minus One back there from Super 7, I may just get to that one at some point, and looking for more of these buildings. They were fun. These eggs, though, were really, really weird. And that is the Godzilla collection of today. Totally seek out these action figures, one or two, they are worth the find. If you like today's video, please give us a squike, squirrelive, squammet, your favorite Godzilla item of today. Don't forget we have Squirrel Stampede merch out there, t-shirts, water bottles, plush landry. Thank you so much for watching. That's what I have to say about that.